I'm ready, guys. I
All right,
watched
you sure?
AEW. I did
That
good.
that's all you watched?
Yeah. Well, I literally just finished watching it. That's why I
Yeah,
was sitting here
yeah, I
watching
know.
while I was eating food.
Yeah, while you were staring at me.
Hmm.
Welcome to the One Fall WrestleCast.
Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
Good.
What's
Pretty
up,
good.
guys?
As always, thank you for hanging out and listening to the old One Fall WrestleCast.
Is
Man,
anybody listening, or are we just talking to ourselves? What's the
no,
number?
we're good. Hey,
Yeah.
we're still holding strong, man. We're down a little bit on the audio side, but you know what? It's summer, pal. Okay,
They
like
welcome us into their homes.
I'm having a hard time finding time to listen to podcasts that I listen to generally too.
Well, that sucks for them because we got a banger going on
Well,
right now.
this is what a great week in wrestling this week, guys. I'm so excited. There's so much stuff to talk about,
Lots of
and
good. Great American Bash.
Road
AEW's
Rager,
back on the road. They had that
yeah,
show on the road again, or whatever the hell they called that.
it was Road Rager.
Road Rage. That's right.
Yeah. You know, I always feel like, and I was thinking about this because the Great American Bash was this week, and then obviously Road Rager, right? I feel like every time that they do one of these like branded, weekly
TV shows.
television shows, they're always so good. And it's like, I guess it's kind of their way of putting out a little bit of a blow off for a pay-per-view to kind of refocus some things, right? Without going full pay-per-view, which is really cool. And I know that it kind of started during the Wednesday night wars, and I'm glad to see that it stuck this week and moving forward, because I do like the fact that when we get a branded show, 9.5 times out of 10, it's always going to be good.
I had a lot of good enjoyable things come across my eyeballs this week, so
No,
it was very good for me.
Definitely. Hey,
it's
so
almost as if they're putting on shows to get ratings.
yeah,
Which is
it's
crazy.
crazy, right?
Craziness.
I mean,
It's-
listen,
I feel like it's what they should have been doing the whole time.
full disclosure, I watched Monday Night Raw this past week.
I watched
I watched the Hulu version, and I was very
Yeah.
selective in my attention, but it was on, and I actually made an effort to watch it.
Well, is it time to go back or
No.
Gotcha.
No, it's not time.
No,
Not yet.
no.
Almost.
Not yet.
We're gonna save more weeks and
It
try
doesn't
again.
look like it's time to get back. It's basically the same card they've been recycling for the last 5 months. Still,
Listen,
but
I'll be honest with you guys. You know what the best thing about Monday Night Raw is right now?
What's that?
The New Day's Power Ranger gear. The Green
it's
Ranger
real
and White
good.
Ranger.
I've seen
That's the best
it is
part
real good.
about Monday Night Raw right
It
now.
is real good. I can't argue that with you at all.
So big ups to the New Day rocking the Tommy Oliver Green and White Ranger.
He's the worst
Wow.
actor. He's so bad at acting.
Well, listen, pal. We enjoyed that shit when we were kids.
So story time. This has nothing to do with wrestling, but it does have to do with Power Rangers, so I guess that turns it around. So on Xbox Game Pass, so I got a fight pad. I'm not going to go get it because it's way off, but I got a fight pad and for Xbox because I'm like, I don't have a fight pad for Xbox. And I thought about it. I'm like, shit, I don't have fighting games for Xbox. Tons of them for PS4. Tons of them for PC. I don't have one for Xbox, and I got a cool one actually. So I'm like, all right, Game Pass, save me. What's on Game Pass? That's a fighting game. The Power Rangers game is on the Power Rangers fighting game, which is Battle for the Grid or whatever. Came out like 3-4 years ago. It's on there. So it's voice acted partially. The only named voice actor is Jason David Frank, and his voice acting in the game is every bit as bad as his acting on the show was. And it's so bad that like he gets like real serious. He's like, Rita. It's just so like, because he's both the bad guy and he's like there's a multi-dimensional. The story's not bad actually for a fighting game. It's not a bad story.
I'll have to check that one out.
It's
I'll have to check that one out.
It's pretty decent for a fighting game. But The story is not that bad, but it's as far as being a well acted, well voice acted. They brought back Jason David Frank as the only named voice actor, and it's maybe Goldar because he talks like this.
It's Triple H, pal.
Goldar and Triple H are the same person.
It's the same person.
It's the same person.
Same
Fact.
person. Hey, so yeah, definitely Monday Night Raw. That's the best part, Derek. So you just continue to just pump the brakes and wait, because if I tell you to watch Monday Night Raw at its current state and time, you're going to come in here next week and you're going to yell at me. And I'm not in the mood for that, pal.
I feel you.
We're busy. We're usually busy recording on Mondays, and I just never. I look at what happened, and I'm like, no.
Yep. Still nothing.
Yep. That's about that's about how that goes for me too, pal. Hey, so I want to still go ahead. I want to start off talking. We talked about Great American Bash. We talked about Road Rager from AEW. How good was that AEW show, Tom?
That was really. It was. They need to put on matches like this or shows like this every week. The matches were concise and had stars in them for the most part. And like nothing went crazy long amounts of time. It had stars in it, and it put on a show that I wanted to see. There were good matches. Andrade had his debut, although the fans were dead for that.
Yes,
I mean,
yes, they were.
They weren't like it wasn't the best Andrade match I've ever seen, but
It was not.
But I think that like the fact that the fans like took a poop break or something maybe contributed to that, because it was just like it was super dead.
Yeah,
like it was deafening how dead it was, and I was just like, what's happening?
Because those AEW crowds, man, they'll go nuts for Joey Janela and his tinfoil cake pan before something like that. I mean, it's crazy.
I mean, it was clean.
So
there wasn't any like botches. It just wasn't like it was the pace. The timing seemed off, but that may have had something to do with the fans not popping for anything. So
look at
Derek's a lot
Derek's
of that though has to do with like guys. It's Evan Bourne. No one cares. Or Matt
look,
Sydal. Sorry.
Hey,
Matt
he's number.
Sydal.
Listen,
It's
he's
Matt
number
Sydal.
5. He's number 5
Okay,
in the
exactly.
AEW
He's
ranking,
number 5. And I was thinking about this as I was watching the show, and I was like, how is this guy number 5? Number 5. That means he would have, let's see, he would be above, has to be, because you've got Jungle Boy, who should be near the top. MJF, if he would actually wrestle, would be near the top. So that takes him out of the equation. Chris Jericho should be near the top. All these people, and he's number 5. I don't see how he's number 5. This kind of makes the rating system crap.
Oh, Tom, what you just crack open, pal?
Same old Centennial IPA. They come in
nice.
15 packs. They taste really good. 15 is the right number of beers, if you didn't know.
So listen. So I got a tip, right? To take Old Forester 1910 and Old Forester 1920 and mix them together 50-50 to make Old Forester 1915. And it's sitting right here. I can't wait to try that out and see how that goes for me. But anyways, Derek, you looked a little confused, pal.
I'm just saying that they didn't give him the best opponent for
I'm
his
not talking
inaugural
about
match,
that.
honestly.
I'm not really talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that you look real confused that Tom and I are sitting here praising an AEW show. You don't really know what to do with yourself right now, do you?
It's kind of odd. I mean, I don't even have to get on my soapbox and preach to you how great it was. You kind of just did my job for me. It's nice.
So let me put this into perspective, and you talk for a minute because I want to pull up the card because I'm just going to quickly talk about what they did right.
Well, I want to go ahead and let's save that one thing that the big thing that they did right, that they kind of botched. Let's save that till the end of this conversation.
Sure. No, you're right, but
listen. So I thought overall, man, the show was really well put together. It was paced very, very well. I don't know if any of you noticed, but Derek, you were just finishing watching it up. That Young Bucks main event was only 15 minutes long, so like. They really paced the show out really, really well. I didn't think that anything went longer than it should have, and I didn't feel like any of the action was kind of stalled for any reason to really try to get anybody over or anything like this. What I did find interesting though was Kenny Omega came out and cut the promo, and only brought out the AEW championship. Are we starting to sour on this a little bit? You think it's about time to get everything back to square one and get the Impact titles back over there. Because, I mean, to my knowledge, this is the first time he's appeared without all 4 belts.
I mean, I've been sour on that for a long time. So the fact that he just came out as the AEW champion, I feel like really was, for me, a good although he is challenging for something soon. Is he not?
He's defending the AAA championship here soon.
Oh, yeah, defending the AAA one. But, yeah.
Good on that. Yeah, no.
So just to back to AEW, I mean, what they did right was they started it out with a banger. They did a strap match, and they did a strap match the correct way, where you have to touch all 4 corners.
That was awesome.
And so kudos to that. I mean, kudos to Cody was always going to do that right? But like that's WWE screws that up all the time. They're like, oh, it's a strap match, but they don't do the 4 corner touch thing, which is super important. And there was a little bit of play into what might be a what was very important to the show later on. Yes. And it was fun. And then, the Sean Spears thing with Sammy Guevara in the back, where Sammy just chucked this chair in his face and like talked shit over him. That was great.
Oh, that looks that looks so awesome. Rough.
It did.
That's so rough, man.
That was the best backstage AEW segment I've ever seen. That was 10 out of 10. Couldn't have been better. Jim Ross did the Ethan Page versus Darby Allin. That was a great interview. That really like I felt like those guys were like, we're gonna kill each other. I hate
shortened to the
F
point,
you.
man.
That was great. That 6-man tag match was fine. It was it was a TV show in the week, and it didn't offend me.
Hey man, but they're gonna be having this 6-man tag title soon, so like we're gonna start seeing more of this.
I'm just taking it for what, as long as they keep it to 1-ish an episode, I'm fine with it. It's not it's not my favorite thing. Oh my God, Britt Baker. Can we talk about Britt Baker for a minute?
Yeah, we sure can, pal.
She bitched like Tony Schiavone about putting her in the match with Nyla Rose the week before, and she was like, God, how much blood money do you want? Is AEW going to come from Saudi Arabia next week? Britt Baker has no chill.
Nope, none whatsoever. That was absolute #savage. The crowd was like,
She, I love Britt Baker, and I love when she talks, and I love when God, she's so good. Everything about Britt Baker.
I think it made it even better that there was a live crowd there whenever she got to say that too, so that you really got that honest reaction of like, oh,
yeah,
she really just said that.
Like she's literally, God, I couldn't love her more, right? Could not love her more.
And Andre, I gotta, but as much as I enjoyed that, like I came in here last week and I'm like, these pot shots and jabs have to stop.
You're right.
Like, that was so good.
Here's the thing. If the pot shot is like that, it's very like just it has to be smart, right?
Right.
And that was a smart pot. That was like that's for smart people. Like what Eddie Kingston did last week was for idiots, right? On the other channel, that's very like that's for idiots. It's like, look, there's highbrow, and then there's for idiots.
Dude, it wasn't even on television again, though. It doesn't.
Okay, it was still for idiots. They put it on the internet. We all saw it.
Derek,
Nothing secret.
We talked about this last week. It's a digital age.
And then we're not going to talk about that part. Dan Lambert from America. The guy, the UFC guy.
Yeah.
So, did anybody get inklings of Kane tombstoning Pete Rose when?
Yeah,
okay,
it was, so apparently Dan Lambert.
Fine.
So I know, as an MMA fan, I know Dan Lambert is the guy for American Top Team, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what I didn't know is apparently he's got ties to the professional wrestling business. Like he was an executive or some shit for Ring of Honor or something like that. I had read this week.
That makes sense.
I mean, he cut a really good promo, man.
His promo was really good, and I didn't dislike the segment at all.
No, I thought it was awesome.
They kept throwing back to like the MMA people. Though Amanda Nunes was in the crowd, and so was
Jorge Masvidal.
Masvidal was in the crowd, and that was great. So,
hey, speaking of MMA, did anybody see Conor McGregor's ankle this weekend?
I did. Has everybody seen the peg leg pirate memes this week?
Yeah.
Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. I tell you what. Main event. I just want to touch on.
Go ahead.
It was not for me, but it did not go an inordinately long amount of time. That stuff's all a little bit outlaw mud show for me, and it was the Young Bucks versus Penta and somebody else,
Eddie Kingston.
Right, but I mean, just saying, like, it's always the Young Bucks versus either Penta or Ray Phoenix and XY, another character. It was in front of a live crowd. I get it. I want to send the crowd home happy. It was certainly a main event type of match.
Yeah.
But I've seen it's a little bit outlaw, a little bit mud show. It's garbage. I'm not into this stuff, but for what it was, they did a good job. And I'm glad it only went like 15 minutes. So yeah, it's fine.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that match actually. I really enjoyed the thumbtacks in the mouth with the super kick. Like, I've never seen that before.
I think it was a great closing match, honestly.
I definitely have. Where they spit the thumbtacks out after they super kick them.
Yeah, I've never seen. Listen, regardless, I agree with Derek on this one, man. I think that was the right way to end that show.
Sure. I mean, it was fun.
I mean, you did not agree with that. It just, you said it wasn't for you.
That was not a match for me.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying. They did the best of their ability, though.
Go ahead. Can I hop in there real quick?
Yeah.
One thing, guys, I don't think we've talked about this episode, and that we've kind of skipped over entirely, was all the different segments progressing the storylines along. There were some great matches, but there was also great segments in between each match.
Yeah, and there was like the story, like thing. There was build. Mm-hmm. There was build. Not only was there build, like, well, if you watched on YouTube, you would know that YouTube built to this, but no. It was build within the show. And I really, as a wrestling fan, that's what I'm looking for, right?
Exactly.
Like, that's what I want to see, is them build the show that I'm watching while I'm watching it, not like, oh, did you watch YouTube this week? Like, no, I didn't. Like, just assume I didn't and build the show. If you need to tell me what happened on YouTube, just show me the clip.
Yeah.
And I'll understand.
I'm excited to tune in Wednesday. I mean, we're going to see an IWGP United States Championship defense. That's going to be awesome.
Yes,
Mox will be back for that. It's great.
I will come back. Like, they put on a good TV show, and I'm like, now I'm excited to see what it's like.
And we're getting Christian Cage and Matt Hardy next week. So, like,
I want to see that too.
And it's another one of those. It's another one of those branded normal shows.
And it's only part
they
one.
Can do that. They can do that forever if they'd like to, but
as long as they're putting together complete shows, they can call it whatever the fuck they want, pal.
But one of the things I want to point out is all the people that I just mentioned are names. They're good. They're named people. There was no Joey Janela match. There was no Sunny Kiss match. Orange Cassidy was out there, but he was laying down for the finish of his match.
Listen, pal, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to interrupt you right now. Just because you and I think that shit's stupid, that shit is over, and he is a star in AEW.
He's over. I can't argue that he's not over. He's definitely over. I just don't. He did the shin. I mean, it's over. The gimmick is over.
And the way Chris Statlander has integrated with that group has just been seamless. It's been perfect.
Statlander's finisher. There was like Twitter was like, oh, she botched it. No, she didn't.
There was
nothing.
Thing is phenomenal.
That was
what's it called? The Big Bang Theory,
or whatever that thing. It ends in like a tombstone.
Yeah,
but
awesome.
it looked great. Allie sold it great. Yes. Allie's gotten a lot.
She definitely has.
She was fine in. I think she was more of a. She's the bunny. I'm sorry, the bunny. She was fine in Impact. I really liked what she did. Her backstage stuff was always really good. She was entwined with Rosemary a lot.
She's the one that got killed, right? They legitimately killed her off TV.
They killed her off TV. Yes, they legitimately killed her, which is great. I mean, it's to me that's like, if you're gonna go full on craziness, you may as well just go and I fucking murdered her. But so that's what they did. But her wrestling has come leaps because she was not good, not believable at all, and like her wrestling was not even a little bit believable. But she has come full circle, and she's a legitimate TV. She can wrestle on television, and
she's a solid women's mid carder for them right now.
Right,
and know, the one thing that I think we can't go without stating here, pal, is man, it's taken a little while, but it seems like we're going to have to eat a little bit of crow because they're starting to slowly build a women's division here.
They brought in other people.
And I mean,
it took other wrestlers. I don't know that I need to eat crow. It's not the wrestlers they started with.
But yeah, well, I mean, it most definitely is. Chris Statlander's been there since the beginning.
No, she hasn't. No, she's only been there. Really? She was hurt.
She got hurt. Yeah, that's what
she
it
blew
is.
her ACL out. She's been gone. And the bunny was
always
one.
a solid worker. The bunny has become a better worker. She was there from the beginning though, but she's not going to be the champ.
But that's the thing that I'm saying though. Like they're trying to they're fucking around and trying to put together a women's division here.
Well, they took all the teeny tiny Japanese girls that they started pushing off the start.
Well, that's because Kenny Omega is clearly not writing the women's division anymore.
I feel like he's not in charge anymore.
Yeah. Maybe Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker are booking the women's division. Right now.
If so, they're doing a much better job than he could have ever hoped to do, because it was like, oh my god, like I would share clips with you guys, like they put this on TV, like they put this on their YouTube channel, and it was like, did you see this? Like this, there was like 5 minutes of just people not knowing what the fuck was happening.
You want to talk about people not knowing what the fuck is happening. Look at the look on Derek's face right now. He's dumbfounded.
We're 21 minutes in, fellas, and we've been talking AEW the whole time. I'm like ecstatic.
He's dumbfounded. But here's the thing.
We'll have other things to talk about.
Here's
At least you watched the show. Here's the thing, man. We're going to talk about stuff that you watched, right?
Yeah.
All right, from now on, all I'm watching is AEW.
Well, look, you're going to be quiet for like the next 40 minutes, so I don't know what you want us to say.
Yeah, this is fair.
I've got opinions and things, you know.
So there's two segments that we didn't touch on. First one, let's touch on.
We're getting into these now. All right, go ahead.
No, I mean, are you ready to get into it?
Brother, I was born ready.
I mean, let's talk about Chris Jericho and MJF in ring, right? So, how good was this segment, right? Like,
so good. A fan jumped in. Chris Jericho gave him a shot.
So let's talk about
Bastard versus the fan.
Let's talk about.
Truth be told, if the options were get kicked out of an AEW show and get punched by Chris Jericho, or have to just sit and watch all of an AEW show, I mean, that's a story to tell. Like, oh yeah, I went to AEW this one time, but that dude got punched by Chris Jericho. Like, what a story.
So here's the thing about the fan, though, right? So my man gets drug out by security, and I'm sure everybody saw the Twitter video. So he goes home and he tweets. He changed his name to Fat Bastard, by the way, on Twitter. And he says,
Jericho cut a promo on him. Should have let that fat bastard. I mean, it wasn't handled right, because now this is like just adding fuel to the fire. Go on.
So my man tweets at Jimmy Cornette, right? He goes, how did you like my AEW debut? I did this for all of us real wrestling fans. Wrestling is no longer a safe space for friends to dance around and play dress up. Reality can hit at any time. Did they think it was going to be fucking playtime forever? So, like, my man kind of like comes off a little like over the top here, I think.
Cornette
threatening
and Brian
a little
Last banned him immediately. They blocked him immediately. They didn't respond to that. That's not.
Well, Cornette did respond to it.
Oh, he responded? What'd Corny say?
Corny said, I got news for you, dipshit. The ring is sacred ground for us. And even if you and a lot of others think you can kick the shit out of the Young Bucks, I would have turned you into a tennis racket popsicle, and you're lucky someone there didn't gut you like a fish, and you're blocked.
Okay. That sounds corny, right?
It sounds corny-ish. Yeah.
That sounds good. But no, he's right. And you know, you shouldn't entertain that. I feel like Jericho almost entertained it too much, is that he cut a little bit of, they let it into the promo.
Yeah.
And that's good, but at the same time, I feel like that might come back to bite them in the ass, because like now the next guy that does it's going to be like, well, I'm going to get thrown out, but I might get punched by Chris Jericho. I might get, inserted into a promo. They might just call me a fat bastard or an idiot or something on television. And that's more than anybody else in that in the state in the arena is going to get, right?
Yeah.
So, for whatever it costs to sit up front, $100, $150, whatever, like you're sort of not immortalized, but like people would kill for that, right? So for $150 and to get thrown out of the arena, people do less important stuff to get that, right? Like Enzo and Cass got kicked out of a WWE show, and like they didn't even make it on the show. There was like a kerfuffle and nobody noticed what happened. And then like we had to find out about it later. This guy actually showed up on television and made
Yeah,
it.
and they showed him on the replay too, which I thought was kind of because I mean I watched it earlier today, and he was on that replay. Hey, so also Kenny Omega jumped in on this too, and he said it's finally time to assume responsibility and dial the online persona back a little bit. Your low IQ man children have evolved from promoting your parroting your comments to actually acting out. He said, I legitimately care about our performers and, more importantly, creating a safe space for fans to enjoy themselves at live shows. No EVP or any human should be above the idea of trying to prevent future incidents, right? So Cornette goes in on Kenny Omega on Twitter over this.
As it should.
And I figured
that's a cheap shot, right? That's a cheap shot.
Yeah. So Cornette says, you and I agree for the first time this guy is a moron, or he wouldn't have been at the show with your phony ass on it. 2 clarifications. Unlike you, I've seen violence in an arena, and this wasn't it. And secondly, looking at your supporters, I wouldn't toss the phrase low IQ around. So Kenny comes back at Cornette, and he takes the high road. He says, hey, Jim, I think you're one of the greatest wrestling historians going, and I enjoyed your work with Dark Side of the Ring. For whatever it's worth, I sincerely hope that you're remembered for your positive contributions to the wrestling business. That's all. So Kenny takes the high road.
Just annoying just to get some attention every once in a while. Well, not every once in a while, but every other week. It's just, what's the most asshole bullshit thing I can come up with? Not that it's bullshit, but you guys get what I'm saying here.
Like
Everything
you said a couple months, what was it, a month or so ago? You called him a shock jock.
Yeah, it is. That's all it is.
I mean,
it's Mark Madden, but for wrestling.
I don't think he's not a shock jock. You know, I mean, you could put him up there with, but so is Howard Stern, right? And Howard Stern is great. I think what Corny does is very good in what it is for itself. He's always been good. Like, I hated the man as a child, right? Hated him. Do you remember him cutting promos? He was the only reason I hated Yokozuna, right? I don't know that I've ever heard Yokozuna talk. I mean, obviously, I don't think they let him talk because they were like, "Oh yeah, he's Japanese, but he's actually like he's Rodney from Hawaii." It wasn't like it was gonna bury the gimmick right away. But could
you imagine Yoko trying to cut a promo? Yo, brother. Well, we come down here from the land of the rising sun, brother.
Yeah. Yo, brother. Yeah, exactly. That's what it would have been. But no, I mean, Corny's promos for him were fantastic. Made me hate him. Made me extra love Bret Hart. I'd even gone back later as an adult and watched a lot of that old Mid-South stuff and the stuff he did with the Midnight Express and everything. And just, man, was he he was the epitome of the chicken shit manager who would just talk all the shit and then run away and get the babyface jumped by other people. It was so God, it was so good. Everything he did in the at the end of the thing, the tail when he would get caught, that was the biggest payoff because he built up God. He just wanted you to hate him, and he does that now. That's what he's good at. Gets him ratings. It gets his podcast. I mean, look. He has the premier wrestling podcast right now. It's the only one that every time it comes out, everybody talks about it. Right? It's the only one.
Well, you've got him and Meltzer obviously always gets talked about because they're always out there looking for shock value comments. I mean, their opinions, and that's exactly what they are.
He's got
they
the
are
cred,
their
right?
opinions.
He's cred.
But Meltzer's also got a cult following.
Well, yeah. I don't know. Okay.
I'm just saying that he's got a core group of people that have followed him to the ends of the earth, and to them, he is wrestling God. He knows all.
I mean, he knows
and
a lot.
The only times I ever hear his name referenced is Eric Bischoff motherfuckering him to hell and back.
But Bischoff still talks about him.
Oh, everybody still
every
talks
week,
about
man.
him.
Every week.
Bischoff still talks about him. Bruce Pritchard talks about it.
Oh yeah, Pritchard hates that guy.
They used to be the best of friends. Anyway,
so let's circle back here. Let's close this out on the fan thing, right? So my man, I kind of got like a little bit of a threatening vibe from these these series of tweets.
Yeah,
Do we think this is going to be an isolated incident, or do we think that this is something that we might see, a little bit more of moving forward? Derek, you got an opinion on this one, bud?
Honestly, if we do see more of it, I think it's going to be short-lived, and it's going to be a little blip on the radar down the road. It's not going to be something that's going to be sustained, because my feeling about the whole thing is the next person that does it, it's not going to be one punch by Jericho. You're going to get your fucking ass beat. I mean, handled.
Depends on
And
who's
they
in
will
the
make-
ring.
Well, what I would assume is they're going to make an example out of the next person. It's not going to be quickly, just get them out of here. They're going to make it known that, okay, if you guys want to do this, this is what's going to happen. And we're legit. And,
That's fair.
But, I mean, like they've said, it is all about the safety and everything. There's probably going to be a little bit more security. They just got a crowd back. They're just getting into the swing of things. It's been a while since they've had to actually deal with a random crowd of people and not a random group of dark match wrestlers.
So, that's fair. It's a good call.
I think I agree. I think there'll be more security next time. I also think the next person that tries it is probably going to be ICU first, not prison. I think that there's going to be there'll be some trouble. Like he's going to be hurt. Like it's going to be. Look, I feel like there was a point in time, especially during the Attitude Era, where this was a pretty common, not common, but it happened every once a year or so.
Yeah,
sure.
And every time it happened, man, Triple H knocked some guy's teeth in.
Mm-hmm.
They jumped in the ring like it was like during a Triple H Stone Cold match. He jumped in the ring. Triple H wailed on this guy. Like the cameras cut away and they cut to a commercial real fast, but like the video exists. Triple H wailed on this guy, and I don't know, I don't want to take punches in the mouth from Triple H, who at that point in time was probably a solid 275 pounds of steel and just muscle and testosterone and steroids. Like he punched this guy's teeth down his throat. You never heard from this guy again because he.
Well, and that's like the Hall of Fame too. A couple years ago, guy rushed the ring and double leg Bret Hart. Like, it's sad that like
he got some shots too.
Oh yeah, he got his ass beat. But it's sad that like we can't just sit back and enjoy wrestling after it not being on the road for 2 years. Yeah. Like I know that when, I get my first opportunity to go to a live show, whether it be Dynamite, with you guys that we've kind of been talking about a little bit, or
I want to go to that.
We go to the Super Show, but the WWE Super Show in a couple of weeks, whatever. Like I'm excited to be a part of a live wrestling crowd again. And like, don't fuck this up.
Hot dog.
Yeah. And drink a $14 beer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I can't wait. And like,
at least they're this big.
Yeah. But like, don't fuck this up, guys. Like, think about it this way. They could always just end up putting us behind hockey glass for the rest of our lives because of dumb shit like this, and nobody wants that. Nobody wants that because that takes away from the interaction that we have as fans.
In fact, they maybe want that because you can beat on the glass and that makes
shit drives me nuts.
It is kind of a cool effect in NXT.
Drives me nuts.
You don't like it? Oh, okay.
I think it's a cool effect.
Yeah. I mean, it has its place. I'm going to get tired of it, but it's cool right now. Yeah. I'm all right with it.
I mean, if jabronis are jumping in, they can do that, though.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is, but like, let's just hope. I agree with you guys. Let's just hope that we don't see too much more of this because somebody's going to get seriously hurt because they're going to bring the big boys out. Eventually.
Oh yeah, it's going to be one of. And you know what?
It's probably going to be Jake Hager, and somebody's going to die.
It's going to be Roy Rage, Brian Cage. You're going to catch him on the wrong night.
It's going to tickle that part of me that evil black spot in my heart. It's going to make that spot go, yippee. And we can talk about it. So, if they want to try that and somebody gets their face beaten in.
So, speaking of black and beaten faces, let's talk about the one thing that I think we all can agree on was the highlight of the night on AEW.
Should have been.
Yeah, it should have been.
Mm.
It was, but it could have been so much better. Malakai Black debuts for AEW. The artist formerly known as Tommy End, the artist formerly known as Aleister Black. Big surprise here, gentlemen. Nobody saw this
Huge.
coming, and I'm gonna kind of pump the brakes a little bit. Obviously, we are aware that WWE flubbed here and managed to allow him to sign a main roster contract with a 30-day non-compete NXT clause. Yeah, so that's a pretty big clerical error on behalf of the giant, the sports entertainment machine, WWE.
You know, I bet that happens more often than you would think. However, I bet that it's eventually caught, and I bet they don't can the dude. I bet it doesn't happen. NXT, it's probably happened a few times recently, but in the past, this is probably a relatively rare occurrence. And I bet it was just a thing that whomever, was the underpaid guy typing the crap up, there was a thing he forgot to change, and it was that.
But these have to be done by paralegals, I would assume. That work for high-paid lawyers.
No.
Like, is it not? You don't have lawyers looking at your WWE contracts?
Well,
No. These may be done by interns, buddy. These may be done by people who don't get paid.
I mean, they're probably probably just click print.
Yeah, it's I'm sure that's all it is. They certainly have some sort of just pre-done form where it's like insert X amount of days, insert money amounts, insert percentages of it's certainly a pre-written form that they let any secretary fill out, and somebody goes, sign here.
Yeah, that very well the machine.
That's all it is. Absolutely.
So let's talk about the actual debut, and then we'll kind of circle back to this because I have a thought and I have a theory, and it's kind of out in left field.
Okay.
So Arn Anderson's in the ring, and Tony Schiavone comes out and says, "Oh, I've interviewed you a lot." And Arn Anderson takes the microphone, and Tony's like, "Okay, I guess I'm done here." Yeah. And then Cornette, I think, said that Arn Anderson's so old he forgot how to be interviewed.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while for old Arn.
And then the lights go out.
He sure brought his coach's cheat sheet with him.
His Waffle House menu. That's what they always say Andy Reid's carrying around is a Waffle House menu on the sidelines for the Chiefs. So Tom, you kind of alluded to this earlier. The lights went out, and it had happened, once or twice throughout the show.
They flickered, especially in the beginning of the show during the Cody and during the strap match. Like there was some light flickering, and it when all the the coach of the Nightmare team, the American Nightmare team was in the ring. It happened again. The lights went out, so it was like, oh, this is related, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
bam,
and then the lights come back on, and there he is, Malakai Black.
Good, much better than Tommy End. Better than Tommy End.
I'm real happy with the name.
I'd have been happy.
Is not.
I'd been happy with like Damian Black. I feel like that would have been a better one. But yeah, I mean that's my son's name. That was Damian.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean Malakai's. It's good. It's a good one.
I like it a lot. Did you guys happen to see the short film that he produced and posted to his Instagram earlier that day?
I did, and that was it was the next day.
No, it was that morning.
Was it? Okay,
Yes.
I saw it the next day.
It was that morning.
It was very good. It was really
very
well
graphic.
produced. Yeah, I liked it. It was very good.
Yeah, I did too. Did you notice the little Easter egg in there?
Which one?
They said, "Tom, you've been here for 5 years, and you haven't gotten any better."
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I did notice that. Okay.
How long has Aleister Black been at WWE?
It was 5 years. It was definitely 5 years.
Oof. It was really good, Derek. You clearly didn't watch it on the old Instagram. You need to.
No,
you need to go check it out.
It's on the YouTubes as well.
It is on the YouTubes, and also I did say this in our group message this week too. Instagram has become like a secondary WWE universe where like a lot of shit's happening, and it's a lot of fun to watch.
You can almost watch you can watch all of the important things on Instagram.
Yeah.
You don't have to watch wrestling anymore. You can just watch it on Instagram.
And then you get extra promos and all kinds of cool shit too.
Yeah.
So anyways, then Cody comes out of nowhere and he takes a black mass for his efforts.
He does. They both did. Arn sold that black mass like hell though. Like,
yeah, it was awesome.
Arn hasn't taken a bump for a while. Arn
he did good.
He took that like he was a professional, like he was killed, and that was fantastic. Cody also flying.
That was great.
Everything that happened in the ring,
so
good.
Overall, I think as a group, we agree that the overall debut was fairly good, right? Derek, did you enjoy it?
Absolutely.
Do you think that my man Aleister Black is going to do some good for your outlaw
Malakai?
Yeah, I'm honestly excited to not ever have to say the name Aleister again.
What are you going to start calling him now?
Mr. Black, I think I'm going to go with, because that way I can't mispronounce Machiavelli, Malakai.
Malakai.
Machiavelli.
But I know what's coming next, and I have come prepared. So you boys do your thing. I know what you want to say.
I think that the one thing that cannot go understated here is just the complete and total fuckery that ruined this entire moment, and that is Excalibur's commentary.
Good God!
Listen, I'm not an Excalibur guy. Okay, I'm not. I'm not into him at all. I don't think that he adds any value to the commentary team other than keeping JR and Tony focused on the match, which they probably need. But at the same point in time, I know that people mark out for this guy, and I am just not one of them. And Tom, I know that you share my opinion on this, and I really can't wait to hear what you have to say.
My cuts are a little deeper. Okay, so Excalibur. So what he did, he immediately, it's like he was shocked. It's like he didn't know. Although they had been teasing something happening for the whole show, it's like he didn't know. And maybe he didn't know. But he's not seasoned enough to not know. So what he did is he did the absolute worst thing he could have done. Is he was like, I wrestled this man
in Dusseldorf, Germany.
In Dusseldorf, Germany, and this is Tommy End, but that's not Tommy End. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, nobody knows what you're saying. Like, you're just, one, nobody's ever seen you wrestle that's watching this show. Two, you called the man Tommy End. Nobody's called him Tommy End. It's not even his like real name, but I mean that was his indies name. That's not Tommy End. That's Malakai Black, and now he's fucking clairvoyant. So, no, Derek, don't. Do not. I know. Stop. Do not. You interrupt me. Well, mute him. Mute him. I want to see him mute. Mute him.
I can't do it, pal.
Okay. How do you fuck this up? How do you fuck this up so bad? Like, he fucking just ruined it. Ruined the entire thing. Like, he's rambling on and won't shut up. Just rambling, just blah, 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 blah. The words are just coming out. JR is like, well, whoever he is, like, trying to save the segment. Tony still doesn't have a headset on. Tony's just like, I'm staying out of this. And it's like, what is happening? Like, why would you do, like, one, do not, like, clairvoyantly announce your dude who is brand new, one of the biggest signings, one of the best debuts you've ever had. Do not just be like, oh my God, that's Malakai Black. He pulled that out of nowhere. Literally pulled it out of nowhere. Unless you watched.
That would have been better than him fumbling it and then backtracking after I'm sure Tony Khan was in his headset like, hey, you fucking moron. We're not calling him Tommy End.
But still, like, he should have just shut up. He should have just been like, oh my God, oh my God. And you know what? The AEW themselves kind of screwed up in a point in that they should have had him pick up the microphone and go, "My name is Malakai Black, and I'm here to end all of you." And just throwing the mic, everything could have gone dark again. They could have just been like, "What did we just witness? Oh my God. Oh my God." It would have been way less confusing. We would have then known his name, and there would have been less like clusterfuck on the microphone. It was so painfully obvious that like Excalibur's out of his element, and he's just not good at this. This isn't the first time he's done this. Like, he does this kind of like, I'm clairvoyant and I just have information that nobody else has, and I just spew it out with no explanation as to my clairvoyancy. But like, this is probably the worst example of it. And like, man, I don't know. They need to rein him in. Like, Excalibur's too much. He's a mark. Like, and that's the problem. He's a mark that's already got all the information. Like, It's all already on his piece of paper, and like they give him the information, and he just marks out to it, and it's bad. It's bad television, and he did it again. This is like the 100th time he's done it.
But maybe that's what they're after, because you've got all of these quote unquote indie guys, and he knows all of them and everything about them because that's all that he does.
It was literally buried everywhere on the internet.
Oh, I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. The spot was bad. Derek, please wade into the water.
The debut was fantastic. The debut was fantastic. Let me put it out this way. This was the best debut that AEW has ever put out. It was better than Sting, better than Christian Cage, better
100%.
than Big Show.
Absolutely.
Best, like, it was the best. They built it through the show. When it happened, I went, oh my God. And I knew it was coming.
Absolutely,
but it was
fantastic.
It was when the camera focused on him, it was like, God, they did it perfect. And then he started talking. What the fuck are you doing, you idiot?
Derek?
Derek.
So, Tom,
you have to agree with me. You have to agree.
You've made some good points. You've made some points that I don't agree with. You know, at some points you went a little Excalibur there yourself, and just couldn't
the podcast
back and just had to keep going and going and talk about how terrible it was, because the internet wrestling community,
Whiskey is awesome.
They will take the smallest little molehill and turn it into a fucking mountain. The man literally said, okay, I watched it back twice because I knew this was going to come up.
Excellent segment. I watched it like 3 times.
It could have been better. And your idea would have been better if he would have just said, I'm Machiavelli Black. I'm going to end you all, throw the thing, black out the screen. Cool. I'm good with that. That would have been awesome, you know?
Right.
But
Malakai.
Here's the thing.
No, let him go. What happened?
So, all right. He comes out. Excalibur says, I wrestled that man 15 years ago, like you said, Walt, in wherever, Dumbledore, Germany. Wherever. I didn't even mean to do that one. I don't know.
Oh, that's funny.
But yeah, that's, you know, he's Tommy End. And then says, but that man in the ring is not Tommy End, because he is a different figure. He is not the same man he faced 15 years ago. That's all he's trying to say. It's just in the moment. You're in the moment. It's live TV.
So here's the thing, right? I can totally sympathize with where Derek is coming from, that Excalibur tried to save his own ass. I really can. But I also agree with Tom. It ruined the whole fucking thing for me.
If that ruins it, that's just
listen, it created a lot of confusion, pal.
I think ruin is a strong word.
What the fuck is he talking about? That's the problem.
Well, you know, in Dumbledore, Germany,
I'm still high on Dumbledore, Germany. I want to go to Dumbledore, Germany.
Isn't Dumbledore the guy with the beard?
Yeah, I think that's a dwarf, like in the Smurfs or something. Isn't that
Harry Potter? It's Dumbledore.
Oh, it's Harry Potter? I've never even seen a Harry Potter. That's how far pop culture penetrates our minds. I've never even watched Harry Potter in my life.
I'm gonna cry. It's so funny. Okay. All right.
So, all right. Derek, you have to understand where we're coming from on this.
I get what you guys are saying, but I don't get down to such grained minutia that I let little things like that ruin my viewing experience. It's not going to happen. It's just crazy to say, like, we're going to go online now and we are going to be outraged because that motherfucker from Dumbledore, Germany said that man Tommy End is not the same man I faced 15 years ago. He's now Malakai Black. I had to stop and think.
Oh, look at you getting it right.
I can't let the gimmick go on forever.
Okay, all right. I can stop. To address Derek's point, look, if Excalibur was like a handicapped kid getting his Make-A-Wish, like getting to call a wrestling show,
too fucking far, pal.
it would be fine. But he's not, right?
Excalibur is a Make-A-Wish kid. No.
Too fucking far, bro.
But he's not that. He's supposedly a professional with lots of experience.
And I'm tagging Make-A-Wish in our upcoming advertising this episode.
What are you talking about? I'm going to title it Make-A-Wish Excalibur.
Anyway, he comes off as the biggest mark. Like they were like, who's the biggest mark we could find? Hey, scour the wrestling. Find the biggest wrestling mark. Find the guy with the most overpriced t-shirts who is the biggest mark. And they found him. They found Excalibur. Luckily for him, he can talk, but he does cover his... I have no idea what he looks like.
Are you drinking Squirt?
What?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
Yeah.
They sell Squirt in West Virginia. I don't know that I can buy Squirt here.
No?
Maybe I can.
There's only one certain Walmart, and obviously I won't give away our location on that.
I mean, I know I can go down to the
Walmart nearby.
I can go down to the corner and buy some Squirt, but that's a different story for a different day.
Done. Wait, was that a stripper joke?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's like, I feel like the criticism, if this was a one-time event, it's one thing. Like, I'm not going to criticize JR for like calling it WWE Dynamite, but like if this was a one-time event or it was just like a random flub, it would be one thing, and it's not. Though, like he does this repeatedly. Like when something big happens, like you can almost count on Excalibur to mark out and like absolutely just face fuck the segment. Like you literally when something shocking happens, like you can almost absolutely count on Excalibur to just mark out and face fuck the segment.
So aggressive tonight.
It just he does this all the time. Look, I feel like AEW works so hard to be a good show sometimes. And they really knocked it out of the park this time. And he just like marked out so hard that he face fucked the segment again.
So aggressive.
This is like the 10th time that it's happened, man. Like every time he does this, and it's like just let him just make him shut up and go, oh my god. Like don't let him like I gotta delve into my knowledge and be fucking clairvoyant. Just be like, oh my god, what's going on? Help us, please. Like somebody doesn't need to know what's happening. Like we can see with our eyes. Like just shut up. And he didn't do that.
Sometimes
and he never
you need to let the segment breathe. I understand what you're saying. That makes sense.
He never does that.
He's just like breathe.
He's just like, I'm a wrestling mark and I have all the baseball cards. And it's like, shut up. Shut up.
So, guys, let's have fun time, playtime.
Okay.
I'm going to say something right now.
We're playing a game? I don't know if we're playing a game.
Malakai Black debuting in AEW is the professional wrestling world's biggest conspiracy theory.
Okay, I want you to elaborate on this because you've been teasing it at me all week, and
it's the biggest conspiracy theory in my mind.
Go.
So nobody else is actually ever saying this. This is just me being me.
Okay, that's fine.
How come they release Aleister Black after pushing him hard on with these vignettes and Then they make him look untouchable in his return to the ring, right? You know, his little spot. Then they cut him out of nowhere. No reason, no rhyme, nothing. And then there's all this talk that cutting him was a terrible idea and they were trying to re-sign him, right?
Right.
And then all of a sudden he shows up on AEW television due to a clerical error. And he shows up on AEW television doing the same gimmick that he was situating to do in WWE. He's still got the eye. He's still got all of the same, you know, the crazy talk and all of that. Like, you know, if you watch that, you know, the short film, it kind of harkens to that, you know, the vignettes that he was doing in WWE. This is the same character, right?
Yeah, you're right.
So what's to say that this wasn't a case of, hey, go over to the other guy, get over, and then come back, a la loose cannon Brian Pillman? What's to say that this isn't actually what is happening? I mean, I gotta feel like if let's hit the rewind button to when the Outsiders debuted for WCW. WWE immediately sued the WCW for their portrayal of Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, saying that Scott Hall specifically, saying that he favored a lot of the, you know, the creative, you know, the intellectual property, that WWE had created and used under his contract in WWE. They were pretty quick to drop the hammer on the legal side of things. Yeah. But you're going to tell me that this guy's going to come out doing the same shit he was doing on WWE TV 30 days ago, and we're not hearing of a little dust up already in legal world?
It's a good point. It's a real good point. Also, his wife still works for WWE. Like, she was re-signed.
It's a very delicate situation.
Kind of getting a push. So, I don't know. I think that... So there's one of a few scenarios that it could be. One, could it be a huge conspiracy? Maybe, but that seems less likely. I think what happened was that WWE not being solely controlled by Vince. Like, we give like Vince McMahon a lot of crap for being like the man in charge of all the things all the time. But I feel like at this point, like, there was a what's his name? Nick Khan. I feel like Nick Khan was just cutting people. And I feel like Nick Khan doesn't watch the program and doesn't know the wrestlers. He's probably like the writer they fired who was just who didn't know who anybody was. So I feel like he was just like, well, this guy's been just been in catering for 6 months, and like, you know, it took him 2 weeks because that's how executives work. Like, nothing happens like, you know, so it took him a few weeks to like actually can the guy, you know, but by the time he actually did, you know, there was already a push going for him. And he didn't talk to creative. He didn't talk to Vince. He just did it on his own. And, you know, there may have been a stink backstage about it because, you know, immediately upon his getting canned, you know, nobody re-reviewed the contract before the canning. That was probably a thing. But like Nick Khan's just been like fired. Right? Lately, it's been rapid fire.
Yeah.
So, you know, when they fired him and then they looked at the contract as opposed to vice versa, that's probably been the, you know, the standard for 40 years. You know, there was some kerfuffle backstage about, you know, we didn't look like, how did you just let a man go? One, he was already in, like that was probably the thing. It was like, one, we just had him on TV. Two, like, you didn't look at his contract. Like, it was clearly like it was wrong. So like, you fired him, and now it's short. Now,
so
now hold on. Now this might give your look if he shows back up in WWE. This gives your conspiracy theory a huge amount of credence, right? Like it could easily. So I operate on a single standard. The standard is don't assume conspiracy when absolute idiocy could be explained by absolute idiocy, right? But I don't know. I don't know. You could be right.
So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add another little layer to this onion. It had been reported earlier in the week that a superstar had asked for an early release from their 90-day non-compete, but that information has yet to be disclosed. And I imagine that it's not going to be disclosed. So could it have in fact been one Aleister Black that asked for his non-compete to be shortened so that he could get back to work, and it was granted with all of my conspiratorial thoughts in mind?
Maybe.
Well, you got to take a look at that with Zelina Vega coming back. Maybe there was something in the negotiation there of like, hey, if you give my husband this release a little early, then I'll take a little less money, or I'll just think a little harder about signing this contract, or
that's fair.
A little
too.
Give and take. A little give and take.
And I'll delete this tweet about unionization.
That's fair too.
Right.
But there again, guys, that just plays into my conspiracy just a little bit more, doesn't it?
So I don't know that it's conspiracy as much as it's just business.
That's fair.
Truth be told, I don't think Vince McMahon sees AEW as a legitimate threat to WWE at this point.
They keep putting on shows like they did Wednesday. He better open his eyes real quick.
Well, we'll see how that goes. Well, but he doesn't have anything to compete with on Wednesday. There's nobody trying to put him out of business. Like, they can build up. Like, Impact isn't his like enemy either. Like, you know, they can build up stars, and then when they release them, he can take them and build them more, or he can, you know, it like very much. It can be. Look, there's no secret that the WWE has become a little stale because of its lack of competition. So, you know, the fact that there might be some legitimate competition, and the fact that that legitimate competition may, in fact, create some legitimate stars could be good. Could be good for everybody.
Sure could.
So, you know, maybe
the
this
wrestling
is just
circle of life has just expanded. It's great.
Yeah. It's probably just an evolution of that. We're going back to where we were in the late 80s, early 90s.
So super excited to see what AEW does with Malakai Black, regardless of my thoughts on the whole thing. You know, he's got potential to be their quote unquote Undertaker type of character. So let's hope they don't flub this, because they might get a little. They definitely might stumble around a little bit on this one.
Yeah, as long as they avoid tales from Grandpappy Black backstage or whatever the hell WWE was trying to do.
Give him a big ass.
Be good. Yeah. Like, what?
So speaking of stumbling, how about Jimmy Uso getting pulled over for DUI this week?
Oh, he was stumbling, guaranteed.
He was stumbling and a bumbling. So how about my man Blue, a BAC of .205?
That's like
4
hammered.
times the legal limit.
That's hammered as hell.
Very, very hammered.
Like .08 is so it's not
like one beer
free.
for me, pal.
Anyway,
well, I'm saying .08 is like one beer for a guy my sized.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not much.
Okay, but like a .2 something is like 15 beers.
Oh yeah.
For a guy Jimmy Uso's size, it's like 15 beers. It's a lot of beers, or shots. It's probably shots, right? Probably. It's shot.
Yeah,
like you don't get
liquor involved.
Like you don't just like sit there and like just pound 12 beers. Like,
listen, Ooze, he's probably drinking rum.
Yeah, for sure. But or something. I mean, maybe it's vodka. I don't know. Maybe it's whiskey. I don't know what he likes. I don't.
I like whiskey.
So a couple things to talk about this. One, WWE did not punish him.
Yeah,
nor do I think they should.
Yet.
Like they just let him deal with it on his own.
Yet.
They literally put him back like 2. Okay, I'm not going to get into that.
I'm going to.
2, Twitter got on Naomi, who was literally on TV when this shit was like, if you look back at Raw, like she was in a match on Raw at the time he was getting arrested.
Yep. She deleted her Twitter after that.
I know. That's like what? How was that her fault?
I'm sure she didn't delete her TikTok though.
She's at work. Yeah. TikTok's a lot nicer than Twitter's like the butthole of the internet. It's extra mean. But like she was on TV, like she was at work. Yeah. You could verify this by watching television.
Yeah.
She was at work. She couldn't stop him from driving. She was getting in wrestling gear and going. I think she lost too, right?
He was probably like sitting at the bar, knocking back some tequila, probably drinking the Rock's tequila, right? And he saw she hit the ring, and he's like, "Oh shit, I better finish up and get home before she does. I'm fixing to be in a fucking load of trouble."
It's a reasonable thought, honestly.
He was drinking the Rock's tequila. What's the Rock's tequila?
Terramana.
Yeah, he was drinking that. He was drinking that.
I heard it's phenomenal. I haven't tried it yet.
The Rock seems to he chugs the stuff. I'm like, how do you look like that and chug tequila? Like, I need to
get up at 4 a.m. That's the thing.
Switch from beer to tequila. How do you get up at 4? And you have to day drink, right, to get up at 4.
Yeah.
The key. Yeah. Start drinking at 2 p.m. You can wake up at 4 p.m.
Yeah, 9 a.m. I mean, shit, you've been awake for 5 hours. You should have all your stuff handled by that point. Time to get drunk. It's 9 a.m. Time for bed. It's noon.
So let's get back on this here. So like, a lot of people thought the WWE needed to step in on this, right? Because this is his third DUI. And what do? They flip the coin and they feature him very heavily on SmackDown. He was in like 4 segments, man. Like, and we got to like
back together, and Edge killed him.
We got like a real world moment at the beginning of the show, which was awesome. Like you could really tell, like it was like Roman and Jay were like, "Hey, bro, you can pull your fucking head out of your ass and get your shit together." But like you fucked up, but like we're still here for you. So like that was really cool to watch. But like at the same point in time, man, WWE definitely did not do what everybody thought they were gonna do. I for one even said, man, this was terrible timing because we've learned over the last year and change that Jey Uso does not need Jimmy to survive.
No.
And I thought for sure this was going to be the end of Jimmy Uso.
The WWE is not going to go and blow their entire storyline up immediately like this. If there's going to be a punishment, it's going to be down the road.
I see. So I don't think there's going to be a punishment. I actually think that I'm certain that Vince talked to him and said, "What the fuck are you doing
again, bro?
Again?" And yeah, he was probably like, "I'll quit. I'm done. I'll quit drinking. I'm fine. It's done. I will be done. I'll go to help. I'll get help." And
I guarantee you that's going to be part of it. But
I'm just saying that.
Yeah, sure.
I think WWE's learned their lesson. I don't think they're going to do that. But I think he will go on a personal level and be like, "I'm done. I won't do this anymore." And I think, WWE's like, "All right, well, you go to rehab, but we won't punish you this time, but you need to go to rehab. This needs to be done. I need you. We need you." And I feel like there's probably some mutual respect, understanding clearly between them. Roman was probably in the room while this was happening and literally stood up for the man. I don't necessarily think that this head of the table gimmick is a gimmick. I think this is literally like he's stepped into this role at this
I think
point.
Rikishi came out a couple weeks ago on some podcast and said, "Hey man, this isn't a show. Like this is like how they actually are.
Yeah.
This is actually their relationship in real life."
Yeah.
So
I think he stood up and went to bat for him. And I think backstage, Roman said, "You do not fuck up again. You do not."
No, I would definitely agree with that.
No, I think so. I think that's what saved him. And, I hope that's really actually, I hope it works. I hope he stops doing, because like, God, DUI, like, look, I like to drink. Let's not pull straws. But I drink up here in my office, or like I hang out on my couch downstairs and have drinks. I don't drive around. I'm not going anywhere. I drink in my house. If I drink somewhere else, I get an Uber. It's not it's not a thing that's like, I don't want to drink it. Like, I have kids. I don't want to drink and drive. Like, good Lord. Don't do that. And hopefully this is the realization. There's not been any tragedy around it yet. And hopefully this is the last time.
Definitely. Hopefully this is the last time. So, Derek, man, I tend to agree with you. Maybe if there's going to be a punishment, we might see it down the road. But I don't know, man. This instant reward thing that kind of.
I mean, we've seen it before with Jeff Hardy. They've been in this situation before, and
that's fair.
I can tell you right now, no one feels worse about this situation than Jimmy Uso does. And I'm sure he's beating himself up and knows he's an idiot and knows he fucked up.
Oh yeah, I mean, you have to.
Yeah,
at the same point,
he understands, and he needs some help.
And the sad part is, at the same point in time, this is a repeated behavior. So let's just hope that this is the last time that we have to talk about this, and let's be grateful, I guess, that nobody was hurt and we as wrestling fans didn't lose out on a stellar storyline.
For sure. Right? I mean, 3 times is not an accident. That's an issue. Just to wrap
True story. So, real quick, I got one little thing that I read right before we came in here that really put a smile on my face. Byron Saxton said that Corey Graves, in his opinion, is right up there at the top with Bobby the Brain Heenan and Jesse Ventura as far as his wit and his ability at the commentary table. He's good. I miss him on SmackDown, but Pat McAfee.
I don't miss him on SmackDown.
That's just
no. Pat McAfee he scratches an itch that is a whole new level of commentary that we've never seen. He stretches a muscle that we didn't know we had. Yes, it's great.
It's awesome.
It's like he put a fan to have something new. It was almost like he just said, "Fuck this," and took off his headset. I don't need to hear from Vince. I know what I'm gonna do. Watch.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And Vince
I guarantee you, Vince loves it. Exactly.
He does. Vince thinks it's the best thing that's happened on TV.
Mm-hmm. So, big ups to Corey Graves and his efforts, and obviously big fans of Pat McAfee and everything he's doing.
Corey Graves, Pittsburgh original, by the way. Pittsburgh homer. And, yeah.
Yeah.
We just, fan. Pittsburgh and professional wrestling.
We talked about some Pittsburgh folks today. So, gentlemen.
You mean Pittsburgh?
Match of the week. Lots to choose from this week, if I do say so myself. I had a really hard time. I had 4, and I'm not going to mention my honorable mentions, but this one for me. Tom, what do you got?
Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly. Personally, I love the chirping.
God, it was so good.
There was so much chirping in the ring of just calling each other out in the ring and just being it was that. Obviously it was a good. This is the second or third time we've seen them. We've seen this match before.
Second, the first was that street fight at TakeOver.
Right.
And this was the first time that this was a straight up wrestling.
Okay,
match.
right. The first one was not it was a unsanctioned. But this one was sanctioned, and it was just a straight wrestling match. And Adam Cole won with a incredible Panama Sunrise. Man, was that a good match. Oh my God, man. It was just back and forth the whole time. There was chirping, there was just it was clearly two guys who are at the tippy top of their game, just going at it. You could tell they were both really into it, really just super just working their asses off, and it worked for me. And I believe I know they're really friends in real life, but at the same time, it worked for me. It was that I believe they hated each other, and the chirping really that's one of those things where it's you can have a great wrestling match, but when you're also having a legitimate argument in the middle of your wrestling match, for me, that just takes it next level. And they did that. And, for the second match of their, however many matches this ends up going. It just like, and the build to it too. Whereas like Adam Cole's like, I don't want to fight him again. We already did this. We already,
Yeah.
It was great. And so that's my match of the week because it was great all the way through. No problem.
I'm excited to watch it. I haven't gotten yet to see it, but yeah,
Oh,
I was excited to watch it already. To hear that it is Tom's match of the week makes it that much more.
Dude, it's so good.
Bro,
You'll
I'm looking forward to
now
it.
with my overarching commentary. You'll be like, oh man, he was right. They yelled at each other the whole match while they're doing this, and it's like it's a very athletic match. But
it was awesome.
Guys obviously are in such good shape that they can just like scream at each other and have a like legitimate argument while they're pulling off Panama Sunrises.
Awesome. It was fantastic. Derek, what do you got from AEW, pal?
All right, man, it's time for me to get shit on. Here we go. So,
I know what it is. Go ahead, spit it out.
You're going to be surprised. It is not the Outlaw Mud Show, as you like to call it.
Okay, good.
Though that was a fantastic closing match. I enjoyed it. The ending it could have used a little less fuckery.
It was cinematic.
But
I enjoyed
it's
it.
fine.
I enjoyed the finish.
I've made it a point to have a rule that I will never choose a match of the week that involves Penta dressed up like the Joker from 2006 or whatever the fuck that was.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. Apparently they just got that movie down south. I didn't know that there was such a delay.
You are
on their
such
Netflix.
a fucking hater. I can't.
It's not his fault, man. Netflix, it took him a while to get around to getting the rights to that movie. I got it. It's no problem.
What's your fucking match of the week, you fucking idiot?
It was actually the intergender match with Bunny and Blade versus Chris Statlander and Orange Cassidy. I seriously enjoyed this match. It was
good.
Solid. There was no fluffy foo-foo shit. It was just a solidly worked match.
No, because they got the fluffy foo-foo shit out at the beginning, which I popped for, not gonna lie.
I mean, right there was man against we've never seen a guy hit a woman. That was crazy. They crossed the line there, fellas.
I
it
popped.
Was wild.
It made me laugh.
We all know Tom hated it. I'm sure he cried. And said this is.
I already put the bunny over. I said she got a lot better at wrestling.
Yeah, but I feel like you just think Orange Cassidy is the anti everything of wrestling. I know you can't get behind him. It's fine.
He sucks. But you know what?
In my book, he's way over.
For the finish, he was like just dead in the ring. So I was fine with it.
Yeah. Statlander finished it awesome. So,
it was good. It was good. I like Chris Statlander. I'm glad that she's
solid
back.
match. No fluffy jump stuff. All that goodness that they usually get into in an AEW flippy do. But
it was good.
Very solid. I
enjoyed it. Good match.
Well, what are we talking about?
Gentlemen, my match of the week was on what I would consider to be the best 2 hours of wrestling on television all week long. And that was the Great American Bash on Tuesday night.
I thought you put on a good show. That was the best show.
I did watch Impact, and I put Impact over or Impact. No, I didn't watch Impact.
Great.
I put Dynamite over for
the best 2 hours
for an hour, right?
Right.
Anywho.
Nah, but yeah, you're right. It was just a better show.
The $1 Million Championship.
Oh.
L.A. Knight versus To the Moon, Cameron Grimes.
It was so good, wasn't it?
Bro, we saw a whole nother level of Cameron Grimes in that match. Goodness gracious.
And he lost, which I feel like only is going to further the storyline because now he has to be a butler.
He's got to be.
He's got to be. Ask, is he the butler Virgil, or did he get the belt?
He's got to be the Virgil to LA Knight's Ted DiBiase, which is going to be so much fun.
He is.
It's so much fun.
Just think, in 20 years, Tom's going to be sitting around in Pittsburgh calling, talking to him about the good old times.
I can't wait. I can't wait to talk to him in Pittsburgh like twice a year. It's going to be great. But listen, I'll be this old man. I'll walk up like, hey there, and he'll be old too. His chest hair will be all gray. Still won't have a shirt on. He'll have the best.
As good as we all think Cameron Grimes is, he got better in this match. Like his high flying, like the big cross body, and then how about there was the spot in the middle of the match when they both went for the tandem cross bodies, like when they were running the ropes, and it looked like a Spanish fly. Like, how good was this match?
It was
Like,
great. It was great.
I had to watch it again to make sure that I saw what I saw.
It was one of those matches like where I saw, like, going into it, it was like, I think both guys are good. But going into it, I was like, yeah, whatever. And then you watch it and you're like, did they really just put on a match of this caliber? Did they really go this far?
I had to watch it again. Like, it
They
was
blew the roof off.
So good.
They blew the roof off.
Like that, it could have main evented that show.
I would have been fine with that too.
It was that good. I mean, and then you started the show with Ciampa and Toothless Timmy versus MSK, which was another banger.
That was almost
good.
That was almost the one. But I feel like it's hard to be like, well, Tommaso Ciampa was involved in the match, so that's my match of the week. It's hard to come out and say that every week, but
he continues to do it, bud. Like,
God, so good. It's fun every time too. It's not only good; it's fun. He does I love that so. God, it's so
He hit Devin Carter with that like running knee, that coast to coast knee, right?
Yeah.
And he just went.
He did.
Like, he's so
Pulled an Aaron Asham on him.
But like, LA Knight and Cameron Grimes was just so much fun.
They really they put a lot. Fun. They put a lot of work into that.
Like, they're not. I don't know if they're gonna be able to top that match.
They won't. I mean, I feel like it should be over now, or like maybe like he should betray him at some point. But they shouldn't fight anymore. It should just be like.
They're gonna have to have a blow off, pal.
Yeah,
but like,
I know.
Maybe they sit on it for a minute.
I'm sure they're going to. They're gonna have
to. One of those things where you, however it is, how they fall in love. Not to say he's gonna fall in love, but like how you start to like your captor rather than despise them.
Yeah.
You know, and I knew I said I wasn't going to talk honorable mentions, but how good was the women's tag team match for the championship on Great American Bash too? Like, it pisses me off that they changed the titles again, because those things, man, they're getting passed around like a crack pipe on payday.
They're getting hot shotted. It was good.
That was a good match too.
I don't know that I like the team. It's just it feels thrown together, but
because it is. God,
it's real hard to like not just be over on EO. Be like, no, EO needs gold.
I was down on her, man. You know, at the end of her NXT women's run.
It went a little long, but I feel like for the pandemic, everybody's runs went a little long, so I wasn't that down on it. But like, to put gold back on her, I feel like it's important. The fact she can hold all the gold in NXT for the women prior to whatever happens next, whether she goes back to Japan or gets moved up to the main roster or whatever. I feel like is important. So
yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens. We will definitely see what happens. Oh, gentlemen, hey man, good show. I'm fairly happy with this one. We talked a lot of AEW.
Got to every now and then.
Talked a lot of AEW.
They're a wrestling show.
They are a wrestling show sometimes. Yeah. So. Hey, check us out on YouTube. If you're watching us, you know that we exist. Please like and subscribe. You can go ahead and comment too. We like that. We'll interact. If you're into yo-yos, please go check out Tom over at Throws and Brews here on YouTube. My man, I'm sure that there's probably still a couple of guitarists left out in the universe that you can purchase.
We made a lot of them.
They are. I was looking them up last week, so I can confirm they are available.
Did you guys buy one yet?
No, I didn't have a chance to buy one yet. I had to wait for my bonus check, which is coming this week. So when my bonus check comes, I will purchase a guitarist because I want to be a part of the team, pal. I'm going to put it right here on top of Derek's Funko.
I want you to learn how to play it. Throw it at the ground.
I can do that too. I'll do that too, just for you, pal.
Please do. It's the point.
So, yeah, and check us out on social media, both Twitter and Instagram at @1_fall WC. That's ONE. Derek, bro, you tweeted this week.
There has been a revival on our social media platforms, ladies and gentlemen. So get your asses out to the tweeters, you get to the Instagrams, and check us out.
Definitely. And if you like t-shirts, man, we got some quality t-shirts. I'll put the link in the description. Yeah. So with all that being said, thanks for hanging out. It's all love. We'll catch you next week. One Fall WrestleCast.
Peace.